What I started out with when I was doing audio in general was the Zoom H6. That is literally an audio recorder that gives you up to 6 mic inputs. With that, you can use XLR cables. If you go and get XLR to a 1/4 inch, which is the thicker headphone jack, you can also plug that into at least 4 of those inputs. Welcome to Charlotte Podcast.Studio. Today, we're diving into the world of podcasting equipment. Whether you're just starting out or looking to upgrade, we've got you covered with essential insights and recommendations. I'm your host, Tay. I'm the studio manager here at Charlotte Podcast.Studio, and my trusty sidekick, Shamar, is out on business. He's at another event that was needed to be covered today, so it'll be just me today, but we'll get through it. So today, like I said, we're covering this podcast equipment. I'm going to break it down into a few categories. We're going to start with budget friendly. Then I'll talk about industry standards. And in the process, I'll tell you all what equipment we use here at Charlotte Podcast.Studio. So one of the main essential things that you need for podcasting is a microphone. Now, look for budget friendly USB microphones such as the Blue Snowball, the Samsung the Q2U, as well as the Audio-Technica ATR 2100X. These USB microphones will give you some of the best quality that you can get from a microphone if you don't have a digital audio workstation. If you don't have anything to plug it into, and I'll cover that in a little bit. But to dial back, as long as you have a USB port on your computer or wherever you're recording, these mics will be essential. These mics are all under $100, which is another good thing as well. They offer good quality, like I stated. They're easy to set up and perfect for beginners. So if you've never done anything concerning audio or done anything with podcasting or any recording in general, that Blue Snowball, I recommend that one, and the Audio-Technica. Those two, just based on looks, I'm not even gonna lie. Based on looks, those two are the ones that I would definitely go with. With these, they provide a significant upgrade from built-in laptop microphones, capturing clear audio without spending too much money. And even if you have a cell phone, if you have that voice recorder app downloaded on that phone, you can use that as well. But again, to get that clearer, crispier audio, these are the few mics that we do definitely recommend. Another thing would be headphones. The reason I'm recommending headphones, even at a budget level, or even at a pro level, someone has been doing this for a while. The reason I'm recommending headphones is because you're the only person that's there when you're doing your recording. For instance, right now, I know I'm going to sound clean. I know I'm going to sound crisp. I know I'm going to sound clear because I know what goes into the process of making sure that these recordings come out correct. So the headphones, use headphones, invest in closed back headphones to monitor your recording effectively. So for those of you watching us on YouTube, these are what they call closed back headphones. These, I believe, are the Audio-Technicas. These are the ATH-M30X. Good pair of headphones. We recommend using a pair like that when you're sitting down and you're doing your recording on your own. I don't remember the price, but I'm pretty sure they're definitely still within budget-friendly range. You have options like the Sony MDR7506 or the Audio-Technica ATH-M50X, which is I think those are bigger than the ones that we have here at the studio. And again, those are $100 each. They're durable and provide clear audio feedback. You will be able to hear yourself and any background noise through those headphones. It doesn't matter if you're on a computer, if you're using your cell phone. Yeah, you'll probably have to use a headphone splitter with, the phones nowadays. But, that's just where technology has taken us. And it's cool. I have no problems with it. So these closed back headphones, they prevent sound leakage and improve audio installation during recording. So again, that helps you hear anything and everything that is going on within your room. If there's the air conditioner on, you hear it definitely do something about your air condition or your heat. You want to make sure that you get the best audio you can, and you want to make sure that what you hear is going to be great enough for your listeners on your podcast. So definitely make sure you get closed back headphones, and make sure that you double check your audio levels. Um, yeah. So after that, you've got your recording equipment. Um, Let me take that back. Not equipment, environment, because we're going over the equipment. So make sure that your environment is record friendly. What I mean by that is, again, I'm looking around the studio trying to see if I can pinpoint anything. But in that environment, we've mentioned it before. I'm pretty sure we mentioned it before, and we'll mention it again. A place like a closet that is full of clothes is one of the best places that you can actually go in and get your audio to sound the greatest. So dampen clothes, dampen area. Let me see. If you've got blankets, put those blankets down in the floor in a corner. I think they call those bass traps, if I'm remembering correctly. That way, whatever it does and can resonate throughout the room, you have the ability to cancel that. Another thing, as far as your environment, if you live in an area, like, I'm just gonna say somewhere where there's trains or a lot of sirens, anywhere where there's a lot of noise outside. So if you know between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m., those are the hours where there's going to be a lot of horns being honked, sirens, anything outside. Take that into account and don't use that as the time to record your podcast, because it could pick up in your microphone. Regardless of which microphone you use, definitely make sure that you're in an environment where you are able to control. I'm going to say make sure you can control as much as you possibly can. I mentioned the blankets. You can get foam panels, hang those up, put those around where you're going to be to dampen the sound as needed. This simple setup can significantly improve the audio quality. With that, you have free software that can take what you put in it and enhance the audio. So you have Adobe Audition. Of course, that's paid for. You have Audacity, you have GarageBand, you have DaVinci Resolve. That one is free. I'll get to that one in a little bit. These programs, mostly the free software like Audacity, GarageBand, and DaVinci Resolve. DaVinci Resolve is a great platform. And again, I'll get to that in a minute. These free softwares are powerful enough to podcast for podcast recording and editing, offering essential tools like noise reduction and equalization. They are also user-friendly with plenty of online tutorials available. Make them your ideal podcasting software for beginners if you're starting out. Learn how to do it. Get in when you're getting into podcasting. What we use here in the studio, we have, as you can see, I think you can see it, we have pod mics. These pod mics are also around $100, just like the Audio Technica and the Blue Snowball that I recommended earlier. But this is also an XLR input. There's no USB on the back of this microphone, which means that you are going to need a way to plug this up. As far as headphones, like I said, we use the ATX M30s here in the studio. M30X, make sure I say that part. As far as the recording environment, we optimize our board and our cameras, mainly the board, to make sure that we capture the best audio as possible. So there's usually someone behind the camera that's working and tweaking things as we talk, as we continue, and pretty much anything and everything essential. So the recommended microphone, like I said, is what we use. The podcast, the Rode Pod mic. I say that wrong all the time. I say it all the time. And it's crazy because I do. But yeah, so this is the Rode Pod mic. It's one of the best microphones that you can get on a budget. It was once not studio, but industry standard. But industry standard has moved to the Shure SM7B, if I'm remembering correctly. Again, on a budget, yet great quality for $100, because that Shure mic that is industry standard, those mics are $400. So for $400, we're able to get 4 of these mics. The audio quality is really not that much different. It's really not. So I guess at the end of the day, it depends on how you have your EQ set on your board or wherever you're recording to, and how well you can EQ it, enhance it, and any other thing that you can technically do in post. You've got the Rode NT1A. I think that one is a pretty decent mic for a shotgun mic, if I'm remembering correctly, because again, it is XLR input into that mic. As far as headphones that we recommend, the ATX, the M30s, the M30Xs, those headphones are pretty good. You have the Sennheiser HD 280 Pros. I know I don't have those. I can't remember the price on those, but that's industry standard. I wouldn't push too hard if you're starting out for industry standard. And since prices change, I don't want to give you a price and then it be wrong. Prices change, prices go up, prices go down, which reminds me, everything that I've spoken about so far, prices change. Don't quote me on these prices, because again, prices will change. These pod mics, as far as I know, have stayed $100. Those microphones, as far as I know, have stayed $100 or less. So again, don't quote me. Don't quote me. Just don't quote me, because I don't want anybody to say, oh man, you told me this and you told me that. And just go look, do your research, go on Amazon, go on the retailer's website, Best Buy, wherever you got to go. Just do your price shopping first. Do not just go straight and assume what I'm telling you is right. So as far as recording equipment, again, I mentioned XLR inputs or XLR cables, which is, again, what this pod mic takes. And the Shure SM7B, if I'm remembering that name correctly. Those also take those both take XLR cables. There's no USB to plug directly into your computer. So with that, you need to make sure that you have the proper recording equipment. The best, cheapest one that I can remember is I think it's Focusrite Scarlett 2i2. I can never get that number right. That's fairly on the budget level. I'm wanting to say that's probably $100, $200. Again, don't quote me. I don't have the price sitting in front of me, because again, prices change. What I started out with when I was doing audio in general was the Zoom H6. That is literally an audio recorder that gives you up to 6 mic inputs. With that, you can use XLR cables. If you go and get XLR to a 1/4 inch, which is the thicker headphone jack, you can also plug that into at least 4 of those inputs. Those inputs will allow you to manipulate. I'm going to use manipulate. They will allow you to take the audio from each individual track. Again, it's up to 6. The system itself comes with 4 inputs, and it comes with 2 mics that you can put on the front to basically catch ambient sound, if that's what you're looking for or want in your podcast. So to dial back, the Zoom H6 has 4 inputs. You're able to monitor each input separately. You're able to change the volume for each input separately. In the process of this, if you have someone that talks very loud, but you have someone that speaks very soft on your podcast, you don't have to juggle their audio levels all in one track. So the Zoom H6 is something that I suggest that you purchase and upgrade, and use as an upgrade. If you're using even the Zoom H1, that's basically one mic. So if it's just you starting out in your podcast, you're not doing any interviews, and it's no co-host that you have, you take that Zoom H1 in, you use that as your individual recorder. It even gives you an input for a lav mic. You can go and purchase something like the Purple Panda. You plug that into the H1N. I think you can plug it into the Zoom H6. But starting out, if it's just you, the Zoom H1N, I think that one is still around $100. I could be wrong. So again, don't quote me. Then you won't even have to worry about these XLR mics. That Focusrite, the 2i2, you purchase that. You can use that as the replacement for your Zoom H6 or your H1N, and use that as your audio interface. You plug that up into your USB port. It becomes your audio interface, and you use that with these XLR mics as your input for Audacity, GarageBand, or if you already have it, Adobe Audition. But again, sticking with the free stuff, Audacity and GarageBand, and you can even pull into the space of DaVinci Resolve, because DaVinci Resolve covers a multitude of things. You got where you can take your visual podcast, import it into the program. You can go in and you can EQ your audio. You can pretty much do everything on the audio side like Audacity and GarageBand can. Make sure whatever recording setup you decide to go with, you purchase all the essential equipment: your mic, your XLR cable, your USB cable, your audio interface, and learn how to use those things. Don't just sit down and expect to know how to do everything straight out of the gate. That's typically not how this stuff works. And again, if you don't have a computer, that's fine. I don't want to say cheap out, but go the cheaper route. Get your phone camera, put that on a tripod, plug that up somewhere. There's your video. Then you go and get something like the Zoom H1N. Boom, there's your audio. I think that pretty much covers that part. I don't want to keep ragging on about it. So once you do have these microphones, these headphones, you have your recording set up. The next few things are for those that are looking to upgrade. For instance, get you a preamp. You get you a preamp such as the Cloudlifter CL-1 or the DBX 286S to amplify microphone signals cleanly, reducing noise and enhancing clarity. So what that basically is a preamps are basically the middleman for your audio. They will use your input, clean it up a little bit, and then allow you to be able to EQ a better, what do you call that? Input signal. Accessories like Cloudlifters amplify microphone signals, reducing the noise and improve audio clarity, especially useful for dynamic mics with low output levels. So if I'm remembering correctly, a dynamic mic are those that typically don't have to use, phantom power. So this mic here is a condenser, if I'm remembering correctly. This is a condenser mic. The pod mic, the Rode pod mic, is a condenser mic. What that means is it technically doesn't have its own power booster as far as an audio signal. So you have to turn on phantom power. Phantom power is like plus 48 volts. I'm going to dial back because I don't want to get technical. I don't want to confuse anybody. High quality preamps add warmth and depth to your voice recordings, enhancing the overall audio quality and making your podcast sound more professional. So once I get this whole thing finalized and recorded, what you will hear will be an enhanced audio file placed with this video file coming from this pod mic, going into the Rodecaster Pro, going into DaVinci to be enhanced and edited and made to sound a whole lot better. If you have the ability to use more than just a closet full of clothes, go get you some foam sound padding. Go get you can go get blankets. Even those thick comforters that you have in your home, hang those up or put them somewhere where you're going to be recording. Give yourself room, give yourself space. Make sure you enhance what you have to do on any and all levels. Use blankets, that foam stuff, like I said. Even if you've got thick curtains, you know, make sure you use acoustic treatment as you get further into podcasting. Again, if you're starting out on a budget, use that closet. If you have that money, go get what you can get. This right here is pretty much our episode on podcasting equipment, regardless if you're on a budget looking to upgrade, as well as me recommending to you what we use, industry standard, and what to use if you're trying to save some money. So as of now, that's pretty much this episode, and greatly appreciate you all tuning in, and look forward to catching you on the next one. Peace.